Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Today, we're going to go down Reconnaissance Lane, and what we're doing, we talked last week about the Rumpler, and the Rumpler being pretty much, it flew so high that you could not defend against it. The Allies had no defense. Today, we're going to talk about a reconnaissance drone. Now, this is early to late 1930s into World War II, but it was so small, it actually had a television camera in it. It was remote control, and they could put a television camera in it, and it was so small, it was, again, virtually impossible to defend against. Now, really? I mean, I say this, you're going all out here, Greg. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off my Reconnaissance assistant. I'm going to throw that. It had almost no mass to it. Now, what we're talking today is the Argus, the AS-292. This is not an Argus, but Greg can throw up a plan view of the Argus. I'll go ahead and hold this thing up. I don't know what this is, but it weighs about 9,000 pounds. So it's a good workout item. The first flight of the Argus drone was 1937. It was unguided. That was in June. And then in May of 1939, they had a remote version of this bad boy that they would fly around. It was a rope. They used it primarily. There were 100 of them built, so it wasn't a small build. It was first of all, more of a target drone. We've seen those before. So in fact, Northrop and some of the other folks built some remote control target drones, gunnery drones, but they were much later than this. And this thing really was virtually impossible to see. It is another German design. Now, Argus was on the low end. They built primarily like V4s and the smaller powertrain engines. They didn't build the big engines. So they primarily produced in World War I just engines. And again, on the low side of the German production powertrain. Now, the interesting thing is, they actually survived World War I, which was a massive bloodletting in Germany because of, we've talked about this before, the Versailles Treaty. In World War II, they built the Argus AS-10 engine for an airplane that many of you will know, and that is the Storch. They built the Storch engine, and then they also, this is weird, they did a design for the Tiger tank drivetrain. So they were also involved in Tiger tank production. How you get from drones and light engines to Tiger tanks, I have no idea. After the war, though, they did not survive. Now, the interesting thing about the designer on this drone is where he came from. It was Dr. Fritz Gosslau. Now, Fritz Gosslau has an interesting, he was a German engineer. He worked at Siemens, which is a usual suspect. Siemens, a large manufacturing firm in Germany. In 1937, he started on these remote unmanned vehicles. I'm going to put this thing down because it weighs so much that I'm going to tear my shoulder out here. But he worked on remote unmanned vehicles, and he moved over into something that was a terrible weapon that the Germans had, and that was the V1. And he actually moved over into the other side of the house, which is he worked in the Leonidas units, which were trying to take the V1 at the end of the war and turn them into kamikaze drones, turn them into manned vehicles, a flying V1, and then use them to fly into things. So interestingly enough, now the thing about that guy that is really strange is post-war, he became a director at Junkers. if you can believe it. So he survived the war, really didn't pay much of a price in the war for all the nasty things he did, which I would say the V1 was a pretty bad weapon. And then he was a director at Junkers until 1963, a year after my birth, Greg, a year after my birth. Now that leads me to the my salute today. And my salute today is nothing to do with good old Fritz, because Fritz actually engineered some terrible weapons. But it's for all of the folks out there that can have a vision, especially on the drone side. Think about where drone technology is right now. I actually today had the opportunity at a pilot school to do some virtual reality work and how they're training drone operators to fly. And think about that technology really didn't exist 10 years ago. So all the folks that are inventing this great drone technology, and it does have military applications. If you don't think it does, look at what's going on in Ukraine right now between both sides using drones against each other. Drones are here to stay. But to the folks that can actually dream big and think about these ingenious technologies, and let's pray that they use it for good. Let's hope that they use it for good. I actually think drones are really cool, and if you think about like camera operators and things that they're used for a lot of good things, but I think like in this case of the Argus, this 292, they can also be used or morph into some really terrible weapons. So today we're gonna go ahead and salute those visionaries with Jones Pure Cane Soda. Now this is a cherry soda, and they make no bones about it. The Pure Cane Sugar Mafia is right on the top. I don't know what the little bear is. Independent since 1996. To me, that wouldn't seem very long, but now it is. And there's some big calories in this bad boy. There's 140 calories. So they're not screwing around. They're coming right at you. So to all of you visionaries that are coming up with these great ideas, I salute you. It's cold. Unlike the Coca-Cola product, that coffee product last week, this is too sweet for me. It's almost sickly sweet. It's not something I would drink, but mandatory second sip. It's not like awful, Greg. 2 weeks in a row, you've served me something that is somewhat actually drinkable, edible, whatever you want to call it. Oh, we're going to put that down. So Argus, as I said, did not survive the end of World War II, but the legacy of these products and what the Germans did, again, back in the mid-30s, were remote-controlled radio drones. Think about that. Almost 100 years ago in the scheme of things, not too far off. But to what these folks did probably laid the groundwork for everything that we're seeing today. And so who knows? With AI and everything coming in right now, we may see autonomous drones here very soon. So now this is not a drone, but this is really, when I was a kid, I've talked about this before, I would kill for these things. This is a rubber band powered long distance P-51. Oh, so cool. So cool. It turns loops and soars. You know, you can change all the things, the little settings on it, and it'll actually go around. Now, Jason will skip down to the mailbox. Greg is going, skip. He will skip and send you one of these. But when I was a kid, along with those tester fly-by-wire, remember those remote control things where you'd stand and turn in a circle until you got sick in the airplane? I would generally get one flight. Boom, and shatter it in a million pieces, and then my mom would be really angry at me. These things would break, but they are very cool. And for a kid, for just a great toy to have hours of fun, go ahead and click on that link. Now, if you came across us on YouTube, we do long-form military aircraft videos. Nothing more. Swimming against that YouTube algorithm on this whole reels and short stuff. Please give us a subscription and a comment. If you want, forward us to a friend who might like long-form military aviation videos. We do this in one take. Greg does a fantastic job on the edit and cleaning them up. But we basically just want to get the information out there. If you came across us on Facebook and you like us, you like the video, give us a comment, give us a like. We'll chat back at you. And if you want to teach your kids at home, we have educator links attached to all of our videos. You can actually download the educator guide that are on any of our over 160 videos at this point, and use that guide to teach the kids at home. We also cannot do what we do without your donations. So think about us. If you got a few shekels, a few quarters laying in the couch and you want to forward those to us, we would appreciate it greatly. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Have a great day.